Hey everybody, it is 570 week number 2. Quite rainy where I'm at, so I'm indoors in the tech office. So this week we're continuing looking at models and methods of reflective practice. Hopefully week 1 was super useful for you. And when you hear models and methods of reflective practice, you're not thinking, oh, you're like, yeah, all right, come on. It sounds cool. So let's jump into it, shall we? So first big thing you have in the week 2 page is the readings, a bit more about John Dewey. And so with that one, I have, let's see where, there are my notes on it. There are a few things that jumped out that I thought were just fantastic that I want to give you a very quick preview about. Looking at that article, I love this part. We need to be willing to endure a condition of mental unrest and disturbance. A condition of mental disturbance. It's basically like suspending judgment and looking for additional evidence. And the idea is not just kind of being okay with doubt, not just welcoming doubt, but actually seeking out doubt. That could be a song, Seeking Out Doubt. We need to start a punk rock band. Who's in? Take an article from somebody wrote about John Dewey, make it a song, Seeking Out Doubt. Anyway, that's essentially what that's about. Fruitful curiosity. I love that. You should steal that and start using that. It's fantastic. So you're going to do that, and then you have your week 2 reading reflection that goes to Microsoft Flip. That's due Sunday. So by the end of the day on Sunday, there's like a wild bird way outside making a sound. And on the week 2 module, that's kind of all you have. Most of what you have this week, if you actually click back, so the video's here, so you need to open it in a new window or watch me on YouTube. Because if you click on home, I'm gonna stop talking. So you'll have to, like, if that happens, jump to the 2-minute mark and then come back to it, or open up 2 windows. But if you go to home and then scroll to the week 2, you have week 2 content. I just covered all of that. It's pretty short. And the week 2 assignment. The week 2 assignment is separate. That's how Canvas works for you. And most of what you're doing in week 2 is on the Google Doc of assignment number 1 in week 2. And so within that, you have 6 different things to read and watch. That's going to be part 1, looking at models of reflective practice. Part 2, methods of reflective practice. So all of that, it's not kind of built into the week 2 content. It's part of the week 2 assignment, which is a Google Doc. So make sure that don't just click and go, yay, week 2 has one thing to read. No. The week 2 content has one thing to read. The week 2 assignment has 6 things to watch or read. So you're going to go through all of those. You are going to learn a little bit about models of reflective practice. You hear about like the ERA cycle that Jasper tells us about. ERA is experience, reflection, action. Experience, reflective, action, right? It's a nice little model, a nice little visual for you. There's a great Edutopia article that essentially, like, the byline tells you what it's about. Jotting down short notes after every lesson helps teachers contemplate what worked, what didn't, and how to improve their skills. That's essentially the article. There's definitely more to it, so read it. Don't just read that initial title and byline. So you're going to look at models, you're going to look at methods, and then the third part is you're actually going to create your personalized approach to reflective practice. So there's 4 steps to this. Step 1, and this is all in the Google Doc for you, is you're going to create your own reflective practice model. And so you can use kind of whatever you want. You're likely going to use either Google Slides or Canva. Those are my 2 recommendations. If you're on an Apple laptop, Keynote is another fantastic choice. Those would be my big 3, Google Slides, Keynote, or Canva. So you're going to create a diagram, something visual. And if you've not thought about Google Slides as a way to do like visual, creating like visuals, it's really, really good for that. The second thing you're going to do, now that you've had your model, Second thing you're going to do is the methods of reflection. So you're going to have 2 external and 2 self forms of reflection. That's going to go into it. And then step 3, you're going to look at your personalized reflective practice approach. It's a template. There's 2 boxes for model, 2 boxes for method, and in that 4th step, you're going to download that as a PDF and submit that into Canvas. So that's what's going on this week. There's a decent amount to read, and I would encourage you to use some of these brand new AI tools to help you synthesize what all of the stuff, right? So you can copy and paste text into ChatGPT, for example, ask you to summarize. You can paste a second thing and ask you to compare and contrast different models. So you're really taking ownership over what all this material is. You're also welcome to just read it on your own like you've been doing your whole life. But there's some new tools out there. There's also Chat PDF. And so if you get a PDF, you can upload it and then it will use that PDF and you can ask questions about the PDF. It'll prompt you with a couple different kind of questions that will work. That one's a new one. It's not nearly as robust. But if you're trying to figure out how 2 different things connect and like you've got the idea in your head, tools like ChatGPT are going to help you kind of synthesize that, compare, contrast those different things. So don't be afraid to jump into those new tools. I was going to say cool tools, and then I said tool. Last big thing, in week 2, the Spring Q conference that Q puts on is in Palm Springs this week. I'm going to be helping a lot with that, doing Q Live. I'll be doing some interviews beforehand, and I'm coordinating a whole team to be doing a handful of interviews with the keynote speakers, featured speakers, various just amazing educators, particularly those doing work around diversity, equity, inclusion. We're going to feature them. So if you are not going to the Spring Q conference in Palm Springs, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I believe it's March 16, 17, 18. If you're not going, but you're like, it'd be great to learn from some amazing humans doing some amazing things in the educational technology space, Q Live is your answer. It gets broadcast to Q's YouTube page, Twitter account, and Facebook account. So if you're following Q on any of those, check it out. Interviews tend to be about 10 minutes long. You'll get to meet some fantastic people, and you will get to hear kind of either what they're presenting on in the conference. They do a really good job of synthesizing an hour-long presentation into about 5 minutes. So you kind of get the best of their idea, of their topic, of like why you would, for those in person, for those why you would go to their session. But if you're not going, you just get to hear kind of what they're passionate about and why they're presenting on it. You get all the takeaways without having to go to the hour of the session or without having to go to Palm Springs. There'll also be some authors in there, some podcasters in there. So if you're looking for some great education podcasts or books, not that you're not reading and listening enough right now, but there'll be some great people doing that. So be on the lookout for that. If you are going to be in Palm Springs, hope you have an amazing time at the Spring Q conference with 5,000 of your closest friends. And if not, hopefully Q Live will give you kind of a taste of being there. So one of the goals of that that I'm actually producing is to be able to make it a more inclusive conference for everyone. So the assumption is like you're not going, but you're not going to miss out on all of it. So that is what's going on this weekend. There's also like a 1-day pass on Saturday if you're interested, if you're trying to figure out like how to kind of get there. So that is what's going on. That is week 2. First assignment number 1 is due Sunday by midnight. You do not have a discussion board this week, but you will for weeks 3, 4, 5, but not 6. All right, that is all for week 2. Hope, depending on where you're living, you are staying dry. No matter where you are, hopefully you're staying safe. Reach out with questions. Looking forward to seeing what you share on Microsoft Flip. And happy week 2, everybody.